Bells will be ringing the glad, glad news. Oh, what a Christmas to hear the blues. 'Cause my baby.
Okay. Welcome to the C-list Christmas special. I'm Aaron,
And I'm Josh.
and today we're going to be looking at 1984's Gremlin, directed by Joe Dante.
Yeah, the reason that we're doing Gremlins is because we couldn't actually find any other Christmas-themed monster movies, so Gremlins was our only choice.
Yeah, and also because we said a while ago that we're going to look at it at some point. And what better time than Christmas? Do you want to go into a bit about the plot?
Okay, plot isn't too difficult, it's nice and simple. This father gets his son a small little creature called a mogwai for Christmas. He's given 3 simple rules: don't get it wet, don't feed it after midnight. I can't remember what the third one is.
Light.
Oh yeah, and sunlight kills it. He basically gives it to his son spills water on it, and it starts spawning other little gremlins. After a while, these gremlins go into little cocoons, and they turn into gremlins. And the gremlins can continue to mess things up for everyone. Is that pretty clear?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'd like to quickly just apologise for the lack of Christmasness to this episode in terms of how we look.
I've got my Christmas calendar somewhere.
Yeah, I don't really have a Christmas calendar. I was going to buy a Christmas hat, but I couldn't find one. Well, I could find one, but I just couldn't be bothered. But yeah.
Back to Gremlins.
Yeah.
And how epically brilliant it is.
Yeah, I personally I sort of grew up with Gremlins when I was younger, and one of my first toys that I remember getting as a kid was from Gremlins 2, and Gizmo, the main mogwai creature thing, which is this thing. Nah. And yeah, ever since then I've always loved Gremlins, and there's not many faults that I personally can find in it, except there is one massive thing that I've always thought about, which I'll get to in a bit. What about you, Josh? What are your opinions on it as a whole thing?
Well, obviously, being born a little bit later, I sadly never had the opportunity to watch Gremlins or Gremlins 2 when I was younger. And it was only when I was about 13 that I actually sat down and watched it. And I just instantly fell in love with something that's so evil and so funny at the same time. The black humour is just crazy. It's tragic,
That's why it
yet
works.
humorous.
It works because it knows it can't play it 100% serious. It has to play it tongue in cheek. But by doing that, it gets across the serious side far better than it would have done otherwise.
I mean, Joe Dante did a fantastic job of directing and stuff. It's based on a script by Chris Columbus, who has since directed the first Harry Potter films, and it's executive produced by Steven Spielberg. So
that was it was during the period where Steven Spielberg was deciding to produce lots of things like Back to the Future and things as well.
The golden era of the 80s.
Probably the golden era of Spielberg. But yeah. Can I quickly get my gripe with this film out of the way?
Yes.
Okay, right. One of the rules is you can't feed them after midnight. That's understandable, but technically there's no... When's the cut-off? This is the thing that I never understood as a kid, and I still don't 100% understand.
It is a little bit confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, because technically after midnight is any time. It depends when we're going from. And if it's sort of like you can't feed them after midnight, are they counting it until like most people wake up, so sort of 7, 8ish? Or it does that is one thing that even as a kid it aggravated me more
As
than
an
anything.
adult, you
really.
still can't truly work it through your head properly. Is it
No,
until
and to be
sunlight?
fair,
Is it? I don't
I
think
don't
the film ever
know.
actually states.
Yeah, and then to be fair, the film is about gremlins, and we can't really look at it realistically, but
I was going to say, who gives a damn about that sort of stuff? There's puppets.
yes, that. Okay, let's get to the puppets. The puppets are amazing in this film.
Yeah, that,
Gizmo, it's just brilliant.
the amount that Gizmo moves and stuff, it's all the tiny little motions with like his head, his mouth, his eyes, his hands. It's just, it's phenomenal.
It is. Gizmo is probably one of my favourite characters in film, full stop. It's the way in which they put the tiny expressions in, just make it feel like a real creature, opposed to this puppet. You believe it. You believe that
Yeah.
this guy Billy has a pet mogwai who sings a lot.
I mean, the voice is so cute and just. And it has like a little car towards the end.
It
And just,
it's so good, and there's so many moments in this film where he is just, well, he or slash she, I can't remember if it's a boy or girl, or it ever states really, because it gives birth. So technically, is it a female? But then they all give birth.
In the film, they state that it's asexual reproduction.
Okay,
So it doesn't need to be impregnated, it just generates new things from itself.
like a worm.
Science.
But yeah, there's numerous bits where Gizmo is amazing. There's one bit that as a kid I always used to love. It's just something simple, and there's a bit where Gizmo's sitting waving a little American flag on the desk of, I think it's the principal's desk. I can't remember
Yeah.
entirely whose desk it is, but yeah, he's just sitting there waving this flag, like a kid would, not really paying attention to anything else around him. And that sort of sums Gizmo up. Gizmo is a child trying to learn,
It's the
almost.
sack boy of the 80s.
Yeah, or the original Pikachu, as I want to tell Josh. He's a companion. I don't know, watching the film again, it did make me feel, yeah, this is where Pikachu from Pokemon came from, really. But it probably didn't. But I hope it did.
But the Gremlins themselves, I think, really do steal the show. I mean,
Stripe.
Stripe, and just all the times that there's when they're like drinking, when they shoot each other, when
Sitting
there's
in the
one wearing a
cinema.
balaclava who tries to mug a bartender. There's a bit where one of the Gremlins actually has two hand puppets, so it's a puppet
Oh,
using
yeah.
puppets, which
Uh,
is an achievement really in filmmaking.
And then there's the bit that even people that haven't seen Gremlins but have heard of it know about, and that's the cinema scene, where all the
Of course.
Gremlins are sitting in the cinema watching Snow White. It's just a brilliant little idea, and it's just brilliant. Them all singing along to Hi Ho.
My highlight of the film has got to be the microwave.
Yeah, microwave is great. I've forgotten who they're attacking at
years.
that point.
Hmm?
Who are they attacking at that point?
It's the 5 Mogwais are attacking.
Gizmo.
I think it's yeah.
Because there's a bit where they attack. It's not his mother, I don't think. They're attacking someone, and she ends up putting one in the blender.
Yeah. Is that Billy's mother?
I think it might be.
Yeah, 'cause it's part of that whole
yeah.
kitchen sequence.
Yeah, but yeah,
Microwave, blender, good times.
it's great. And then there's the other great bit in it where the main girl in it, Kate, the love interest for Billy, sort of explains about how her father died, and it's great because it's again tongue in cheek.
It's a tragic story.
It is a tragic story, but Gizmo's so happy during said story. It's brilliant. And then they then do a take of it in the sequel, because essentially you've got the girl sort of saying about how when she was 9 years old, her father didn't come home from work, and days went by and Christmas went by, And it started to get cold and it started snowing, so she went to light the fire and she noticed a smell. So they got the fire brigade to come along and take out whatever it was that was smelling. They expected a dead cat or a dead bird, but what did they find, Josh?
It was her dead dad dressed as Santa.
Yeah, he had broken his neck because he had fallen down. But the way in which it's told, I know it wasn't quite amusing the way I told it, but if you see Gizmo's face, there's sort of tragic humour to it. And then the sequel, then she goes in, what is it? She doesn't like I think, is it President's Day?
Yeah.
She's like, I don't like President's Day. He's like, why? Well, when I was 9 years old, my starts telling the same story essentially, and he tells her to shut up. But no, it's such a great film.
I actually like Gremlins 2 a little bit more because of the way it rips out of Gremlins 1.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Christopher Lee's in it.
True.
But I don't know, as a whole film, I think the first one probably is slightly better, just to the fact that it sticks to this small town. The soundtrack is phenomenal, I'd say. It's really sweet, but quite sinister at the same time. A bit like Edward Scissorhands music. Yeah. And then Gizmo's song that he sings, I guess, throughout is amazing. But no, I'd agree with you, the sequel is brilliant. And I personally would say it's not quite as good, but I'd say it's one of the best films of its kind. But yeah,
so we both basically give it a massive thumbs up.
Yeah, and I personally am looking forward to the fact that Joe Dante's announced that he's doing a third film with puppets.
Never seen Joe's puppets.
They've been planning on doing it for a while, but apparently he's just sort of got the green light, or he's either not got the green light, but he's just decided to fund it himself. But yeah, I'm gonna shove a montage of Gizmo on over this bit.
I'm just going to end it with a quote from Ross Noble, the Newcastle comedian. And he said, many people consider the Bible to be the greatest story ever told. No, it's not. Gremlins is. I think that sums it up.
I'd agree with that. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, we'll review the other film, and if for some reason this isn't up for Christmas, I am very, very sorry, and I hope you had a very nice Christmas. And yeah, enjoy the montage of Mogwai.
And I can see
Merry Christmas.
the day we met. Just one moment and I knew you're my best friend. Do anything for you. We've gone so far and done so much, and I feel like we've always been together, right by my side, through thick and